Welcome back to Kiesel News, everybody. To start off, I want to talk about how fucked up the House and Senate is right now. Starting with Elizabeth Warren stating that iPhones having green text is making non-iPhone users feel excluded in their group chats. Like, what? We're talking about this in the House, in the Senate. We have huge issues going on in the world right now, and this is what we're talking about. I can say that I've never given a single ounce of thought to someone if they had green or blue text. I was just like, I wonder why they have blue text, I have green text. And I refuse to believe anyone else would have a different reaction. So why is this being brought up on a national stage? While the Senate's wasting their time, so is the House, as they've passed a bill that could ban TikTok yet again. They are just wasting their time. After this last fiasco, I've come to the conclusion that TikTok will never fully go away, no matter who suggests it should be banned. We could have fucking God come down and be like, yo, TikTok is banned. It's being banished to hell or some shit. And it could still survive. Next up, there's been all these headlines recently about these alpha male boot camps of people paying thousands of dollars to go to camps to learn how to be alphas. And there's one coach who's apparently charging $3,000 to give out advice. Now, assuming the person that they're charging is aware of the $3,000 charge, I honestly see no problem with this, as you are fully in control of how you spend your own money. As long as they're not holding you at gunpoint, being like, yo, give me $3,000, then you are willingly paying this person $3,000 to learn how to be a fucking loser, as all alpha males are. Good job. What do you think's more worth it, guys? $3,000 for an alpha male course, or $1,750 for Balenciaga chips? They're not even unique flavors either. They're just chili, cheese, and salt and vinegar, and you're paying $1,700 for them. Dude, I've never had them, but someone needs to do a taste test and see if that shit has like gold in it. You open it and you get like 10 carats of gold as your bonus. I bet you those chip boxes with multiple flavors, with 90% of the bags just being Cheetos, taste better than this shit. Especially since once you eat them, even if they do taste like the best thing you've ever tasted, better than fucking Peter Griffin's jizz, you'll be diagnosed with depression at the amount of money you spent on them. Next up, we have Ben Schwartz pulling a Tom Holland, stating that he would love to play his character forever, being Sonic. Now, I don't know if Sonic can really last forever in the movie space, but that is the plan, to turn it into a cinematic universe. So for all we know, Ben Schwartz could appear in Sonic 20. It'd be kind of funny if over time all of the cast faded out, including Tails' voice actor. We got a recast of Knuckles, a recast of Shadow, even though Keanu Reeves hopefully plays him forever. We're just left with an 80-year-old Ben Schwartz playing an 80-year-old Sonic as he fights Eggman's great-great-great-granddaughter, with Mickey Mouse in a supporting role since Disney owns Sega at that point, as they own everything. It would also beg the question if Ben Schwartz would take over other areas of the franchise as well, such as the TV shows or the video games, where Sonic is voiced by different people. I know Devin Mack voices him in Sonic Prime, for example. So, it'd be interesting to see who would basically get monopoly over the character, or if Ben Schwartz would still let Sonic be voiced by others. I wouldn't see Ben Schwartz being the sole voice actor, as he's not already. I feel like Sega would have already wanted to make that move if they wanted to go that route. And I'm sure the audience would have made themselves clear if they only wanted one voice actor, which I don't see why you would. I don't understand why certain people get super uptight about only having one voice actor, such as Peter Cullen for Optimus, for example. I understand wanting Peter Cullen to give voice direction to the other voice actors, so Optimus sounds like Optimus, but I think having other voice actors take on the characters in other forms of media is a good thing. It's different if a character is recasted in the same show. So, like, for example, if in Transformers Rise of the Beast sequel, Optimus was voiced by somebody else, that would feel out of place. Speaking of Sonic video games, though, Sonic Frontiers 2 has apparently been confirmed by the reputable leaker Daniel RPK. So we will see who the voice actor is in Sonic Frontiers 2. Following up from Giancarlo Esposito in Far Cry 6, apparently the villain in Far Cry 7 could potentially be played by Cillian Murphy. Now this would actually be huge, as I don't believe he has ever had a video game or voice acting role in general, so it would be his first foray. Alright, I'm recording this hours later. I have an update. So apparently the rumor was false, but the original poster said that it was more a tease for something else. So I don't know if that means that Far Cry 7 is going to be dealing with bombs of some sort, if that's the main draw point, or what. Or maybe it'll take the series back to Oppenheimer's time period. And yeah, this whole story is fucked then, because Cillian Murphy also this isn't even his first foray into voice acting, as he was in both Batman Begins and Peaky Blinders the game. So, whatever, bro. Next up, we have confirmation that Shame and Gil were originally going to be new emotions in Inside Out 2. Now, the reasoning why they weren't was because Pixar essentially wanted to tone down the movie, believing those emotions to be too heavy for presumably the child audience. And I think this is the issue with modern Pixar and why they're not in the zeitgeist as much as they used to be, which is that they're treating kids as dumber than they are, which is never something they've done. The reason why movies like Toy Story have stayed in the zeitgeist for so long was because they had moments that could appeal to an older audience as well. And that's not just nostalgia talking. When I was younger, my parents actually enjoyed watching Toy Story and all of those movies. They thought they were funny and had some good humor and good emotional beats. And I feel like if I were to watch these movies as a parent now, I wouldn't get the same enjoyment out of them. I think Toy Story 5, as much as it is just a cash grab, will also be the determining factor in seeing if Pixar can get their old groove back and finally get little kids talking about something other than Skibbity Toilet and Phantom Tax again. Next up, Seth MacFarlane says he's been planning a Family Guy movie for 15 years at this point. Now, interestingly, this comes after his previous statement where he thought that Family Guy could last forever. So, this movie, despite the immense planning that's gone into it, isn't even being set up as the series finale. So I think the safest bets for what the movie could be is something like the Cleveland Show that focuses on the backstory or a side story of a different character so that it's still basically independent from the show. Or it's something that signifies a major status quo change in the show for once that Seth just isn't ready to get to yet. Like, what if it killed off Peter and made Chris the next Family Guy? I severely doubt Seth would do that, but who knows? Or maybe with the recent revival of Ted, it'll be a Ted crossover. In our last story today, we're following up on the Blair Witch movie that was recently announced, the new one, and the statement of the original creators regarding it. They basically sent out a statement to Lionsgate stating how they want proper residuals, which they never got for the original movie that they made. Also asking for consultation on any future Blair Witch project. Now, this part wasn't very interesting, as I didn't even like the first Blair Witch, so I don't really care where the franchise goes. But the third thing that they want is something called the Blair Witch Grant, which is giving $60,000 every single year from now on to an independent filmmaker to make their own film. Not related to Blair Witch at all, just completely separate. This is amazing, as the Blair Witch getting a remake just adds to the constant pool of remakes being put out and takes away the potential for indie movies to break out. So the fact that the original Blair Witch creators are trying to stand up for indie films as well is absolutely beautiful. Especially since the Blair Witch Project was the perfect example of an indie film that got big.